I'm Alex Stone, former military service member and law enforcement officer. Now CEO of Echelon Protected Services, one of the fastest growing private security firms on the West Coast. And this is Ride Along, where our guest and I witness firsthand the issues affecting our community. I believe our proven method of enacting meaningful change through compassion and understanding is the best way to make our streets a safer place and truly achieve security through community.
I'm JJ Arevalo, CEO of Community Action PDX, and I'm here for the Ride Along.
Alex Stone here. Welcome back to the Ride Along. Our guest today is JJ Arevalo. JJ Arevalo, longtime friend, and we'll go into his background here in a bit. But JJ, how's your day going today?
It's going great, man. Just got up and moving. Came in here to see what we can do today to try to help the homeless and to try to get a feel about what's going on in Portland.
It's great. Before we get into that, let's talk about your background a little bit. So, I always like talking about personal stories. Why don't you tell the audience about the time I was sneaking in and out of your window because I was we were teenagers, growing up together in high school. I was homeless. Yeah. You kind of took me in. Why don't you tell about that story a little bit?
Yeah. There was a time in my life where around 16, 15 years old, I no longer lived with my father. Moved out. We were having conflicts. I don't want to really talk about that, but moved in with my mother, and my mother didn't know what to do with me. I was in a street gang at the time, selling dope, running around, causing trouble any way I could. And me and you became pretty close through some different things that we had been through in that same scene. And you were going through some stuff, and you needed a place to crash.
I did, and, yeah, for sure.
It's a funny story. My mom didn't know that he knew Spanish, and knew he was walking into coming in and out through the window. And she said in Spanish, she's like, "Get that freaking kid out of my house."
That's right. And
he comes out in the morning. My mom's making breakfast, and he tells her in Spanish, like, "Hey, I mean no disrespect. I'll leave here." My mom was mortified.
Yeah, she was.
Because she was like, "Ay, mijo, I didn't know he knew Spanish."
That's right.
It was hilarious, man.
Yeah,
but she still tells that story to this day. I mean, we were rough, man. We did what we had to do to survive. Mm-hmm. And
you kind of go into that. Explain. So JJ's, when we talk about our backgrounds and people's backgrounds, we use the term that life, right? And when we talk about that life, we're talking about what would be considered criminal activity, something that would be going on a daily basis, and it's connected to a group of people that would be considered a gang or a cartel, a syndicate, right? Mm-hmm. And so both of us kind of grew up in that life. Yeah. And you became a very central character, and we're not going to name names, we're not going to get into that, but kind of just go into the background of how you got into that life.
Yeah, I will.
And kind of your role.
Yeah, so basically, my freshman year in high school, I've always been really cool with anybody around me. I have family members that are black, Mexican, white, you name it. I sang R&B growing up, so a lot of people in my community, Mexican American community, they didn't like that I sang R&B. They didn't like that I was cool with a lot of black folks, and that I have family that was black. They just had an issue with it. And I say that because there was a riot at my high school.
Sam Houston
High School.
Yeah.
And
Houston, Texas.
Yeah, and there was
it was the Selena riots. I don't know if y'all remember who Selena was, but Selena was at the time the most famous Mexican American
pop singer,
artist,
pop Tejano. And huge riot. And after that riot, I got kicked out of my high school. Wrong place at the wrong time. And we can go into those stories.
Well,
later.
you started the riot. But
that's what they say.
We'll maybe in a different episode we'll get back to that. But
that's what they say.
Selena was murdered by her manager, and so there was a
tribute.
A tribute, and really a week of mourning.
Yeah, well, it was Cinco de Mayo. It was Cinco de Mayo,
and it was the entire Hispanic community, especially the Mexican American community, was grieving.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone,
that was pretty deep.
In Texas, you dress up like it's called Texan or Tejano style, where you wear, your cowboy get up and your buckles and these things. Yeah. And so it was, it was a day for that to be respected, but there were, there were some
hecklers in the crowd.
Let's say it this way, there were non-Hispanics.
They were heckling the people doing the shows. So the way that this really went down, and I mean, we probably should go into detail at another point, but I was in the Black History program that year in February, and I got a lot of flack because I'm Mexican and I was in the Black History program singing R&B music, and during that era there was tension between blacks and Hispanics.
This is the 90s.
Yeah, in my high school at least. And I got a lot of flack from that. But I told my friends, like, hey, man, these are good dudes. Like, these are good people. Like, don't trip, man. And it was peaceful. I got flack, but there was no flack during the Black History program. But in Cinco de Mayo, a couple months later, they were doing a Selena tribute. And some guys in the crowd who I knew, were hopping up and shouting, Easy-E. Easy
that's funny.
Easy E in the middle of the Selena lady singing Selena songs, and it just so turned out that the person they were disrespecting was one of the OGs of a gang called Northside Aztecs' girlfriend. Yeah. And that was very bad. Mm-hmm. And so we had one program, and then they would have lunch, and then we'd have another program. We had 3 programs throughout the day because our freshman group was 2,500 dudes, 2,500 people. Yeah. So in the middle of the break, I went to all of my friends that I was, involved in the Black History program with, and I was like, hey, man, please, like, show some respect during this time because, like, I can't control what's going to happen with these dudes. Like, I don't have pull with them like that. And those guys were like, I don't give a fuck. They were like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Screw you and Selena. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right, man, I got no control about what happens. And so there was this huge rigmarole. They tried to separate us from each other. Somehow one group ended up seeing another group, and it just so happened that I was in the front of one group, and a guy that stole my CD player earlier that day was in the front of the other group, and I just wanted my CD player back, and I threw the punch, and once that happened, I'll never forget, like a wall of fists. And
that's right.
I mean, and I was like, I got kicked out of that high school, and so I got sent to another high school called Reagan High School at the time. It's been changed to like a technology high school now. It's not.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's like Heights Technology High
School.
Really,
they got rid of Reagan.
And when I was there, I tried to change my persona. I came in there. I'm just going to be like a guy that goes to school, but people had already heard about me. There. And
they knew about the JJ.
Well, they knew that I. There's so much stories here. They knew that I was a fighter.
Well, we used to box back in the day. We would skip school to just train boxing,
or we would fight anybody who wanted.
We would wrestle, all that.
Yeah, so. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we'd been fighting since we were kids, so it was just kind of something we did. Basically, when I started going there was a gang called Mexican Power, and they were like, "We don't like you." I was like, why? And they just didn't like me, dude.
You weren't Echelon enough.
I listened to like Soundgarden. Yeah. I was like a Mexican American, man. I didn't speak fluent Spanish. I hung out with black folks. They didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? So I had a really beautiful girlfriend, and there was one guy in that gang that wanted her so bad. And so we couldn't even walk down the hallway without them trying some smack. And so finally I squared off with one of the guys alone. I was going to the restroom. I saw him in the hallway, and I went up to him, and I was like, hey, if you got some beef, we can settle it right now. We can just box it right now and be done with it. Screw your friends. What's up? He's like, no, man, I ain't got no trouble. And then later that day.
Oh, he had trouble, huh?
They tried to jump me.
Yeah, when he found his friends,
yeah, they tried to jump me.
there was some trouble there.
And I used to carry these metal hand packs, like metal pieces of weight that I put in each hand. I carried 2 knives because where I was from, I mean, you had to, you know, you were fighting, something was going down. And long story short, you know, I had them follow me to an area where there was a small, you know, entranceway and then a stairway so I could single them out. Got where they, instead of having
funnel in,
right, instead of having
so
4 abreast,
they can't
exactly, so they
angle
can't
up on
surround
you.
me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of having 4 abreast, they could only come in 2 abreast, and I was dropping them, bop, bop, dropping them, bop, bop, and I'll never forget. Like started getting tired, and I was like, "That's it. I'm gonna get smoked. These guys are gonna mess me up."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, screw it," and I just went ahead and, shelled in to try to be like, "All right, I'm about to take this ass whooping." And I'll never forget, like, same thing like in the ride, like all these hands and legs came over me, and get off my homeboy, bitch, boom, 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 boom. And what had happened was, while I was there, I had met a guy there named Louis Pena. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind me mentioning his name. And we're still friends. And he had been taking me around, introducing me to guys. And legitimately, it may sound funny, but we were getting interviewed for gang positions.
So, and this stage of that development and that life, you would be a hang around.
In this stage, I wasn't even affiliated yet.
You weren't associated.
No, and then this was. But
you knew when you're in
14.
that, when you grow up in this type of neighborhood, you know that there's
cliques.
Gang.
Yeah, there's cliques.
I mean,
well, everybody, you know the cliques and you know their areas. Houston's an interesting city because they call it open city. It's huge.
It's very large.
You know, if you're 14 and your friend has a car, I mean, we tried out for a lot of different gangs. Like we went to, you know, at the time there was Brown Pride, there was Mexican Power,
Yep.
there was all these different
H-Town
sections.
Browns.
H-Town, 7NG7, Baby Blue Clips, Rolling 60, all these different cliques. And we went and we actually talked to every OG. They wanted us in. We were big guys. We were smart.
Yeah.
And one of those gangs was called 7NG7, and it was part of the Reagan neighborhood, and they fought with this Mexican Power gang often. And so because I'd already talked to them before and they liked me, I talked about unity. This really was my thing.
Nice,
I just got through. I ate, slept, and breathed the movie Blood In, Blood Out. Right. So like I was like.
So you find yourself in a situation. You already got kicked out of one high school.
Yeah.
You're in another high school.
Yeah.
Roughly the same area, North Side.
Yeah, and I'd like to add a caveat. My father also told me if there was a time when he was like, if you get into a fight, you already know what's going to happen when you get home.
Yeah, you get into a bigger fight.
Yeah, when I got home.
Yeah, that's how it was.
But by this time, something had happened where, as you can see the scar on my face, I got hit, busted my face open. I mean, bleeding everywhere. Nurse, my father comes and they're like, hey, we're going to have to suspend both your son and this guy. My dad was like, what? I've been telling him since he was a kid not to fight.
Yeah.
And so he allowed this kid to hit him, and you're going to suspend him anyway.
That's right.
And he's like, they're like, yeah. Sorry,
That's what they did back in the day.
So he was like, well,
Just
okay.
to stop they don't know who's in gangs, so
Right.
they're afraid of retaliation
Right.
and these things.
So my dad was like, well, y'all fucked up. And he looked at me and he's like, from now on, if anyone looks at you cross-eyed, I want you to kick the living shit out of them.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you know what's going to happen to you when you come home. Mm-hmm. So after that, when the riot went down, like I was quick to get like I had been caged. And, granted, today, you know me, I've evolved, God and my relationship with God and man has gotten me out of that old mentality. But it still looms. Mm-hmm. But during that time, I was a monster, man.
Yeah. Before we talk about your transition out of that life, I want to dig in deeper. So you get jumped. They court you. You start to court other groups.
Yep.
What in your mind was the determining factor that said, I'm going to get in this clique guy right here?
I wanted to be with the strongest.
Okay.
I wanted to be with the people who were the most fearsome. I wanted to be with the people who had the most resources, connections. Yeah. I was intelligent.
And I'm asking this because a lot of the people we engage on the street, they're making
In my
this.
decision-making.
It's the same decision-making process occurring on the streets of major cities, especially in the homeless community. They will click together to protect each other.
Yeah.
And so that's really important to get into. So you end up getting down.
Well, let me explain that what happened.
Yeah.
So we went to every single group, and we we legitimately interviewed.
Yeah.
6 different gangs.
Yeah.
And then we finally met with the H-Town Rolling 60 Crips, which we were told at the time we were allowed to be a chapter of Rolling 60s, but now after the fact I realized that they just liked the name. You know what I'm saying? They weren't legit 60s.
They weren't paying national dues.
And they're not a part. They weren't from Compton. They weren't from that that section, that place. And if you're gonna be a real 60, you're from there. They were set claimers. You know what I'm saying? But they weren't. They were legit. They were violent, but they weren't real Rolling 60 Crips. They just called themselves that.
And this of course is the same in Portland.
Yeah,
people start claiming sets, and then what happens is if they become legit enough, that set will reach out and say you're not paying dues.
To that effect, or in other ways back then that I remember that it used to go down was if an OG came from Compton and was from that area, and they would say, okay, we'll allow you to use the name, and that's what that's what I was told. Was how we were able to carry that name, which to me was a cool name at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, of course, bro.
Everybody was a Crip. I was young. This was in the early, mid-'90s. So, but what really moved me to these people was they were big, they were strong, they were organized, they were already fighting with MS-13, real violence.
This is when MS-13 was just getting on the scene.
And there was
the first, second year, they were really in the States.
Right. And so, they had already gone through many shootouts and things like that. And they had, when I went and saw them, they were like, hey, this is our men. These are the guns we got. Like, we have connections with the cartels, so you can start making money. But it wasn't like spoke about in that way. It was like you just knew. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, hey, look at my guns and we can connect you with this. And they didn't have like a 5-point program for success. It was just crime.
Yeah.
So I decided, me and Looney decided to get clicked in. You know what I'm saying? We did a couple minutes getting clicked in. They told me at the beginning, like, hey, if you don't fight back, we won't,
They're gonna hit you as hard.
They said if you don't fight back, we won't mess up your face.
It's only 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You fight back, that's like 5 minutes.
Brother, it was like 2 minutes, and they hit every part of me. They destroyed my face. At first, they were gonna call me Two-Face because my face was so messed up, but we went with Big Six.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But after I got clicked in, things changed. I was riding around with one of the guys.
You're taking orders at that point.
At this time, I was fortunate because the people who just recruited me were the 2 main OGs, and they saw talent.
Yeah.
And
they're scouting you.
They
recruited you. So at one point, you become an enforcer.
Yeah.
At what point does that happen?
That happens a little bit after I kind of prove that I'm down. So like the first thing that really happened that I feel like was like it could have gone real south was the leader of that gang, Mexican Power at the time. His name was Chucky, and he didn't really have beef with me, but it was his brother. He really had beef with me. So, but one time Chucky was with his girlfriend and his mother and his daughter, I think. And they were near the Galleria, the Galleria.
Yeah, of course.
That mobile right there, it's still there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
This is a mall, and
Galleria
downtown Houston.
And Mobile is
it's
gas
a really
station.
nice area. People would go there shop.
Right. So we pull up.
This is the '90s when we still did that.
Yeah.
You couldn't get a girlfriend's phone number unless you
were at the So we were out there chilling, and we pulled up to that Mobile to gas up. It was myself, Smiley, Kid D, Looney.
So your crew.
And 2 of them were very dangerous people at the time. Very dangerous people. And so when I pulled up and I saw, and Looney and me saw, and Looney was like, "Oh, Jay, what? It's Chucky." And I was like, "Oh, snap." And immediately Smiley gets his piece, he cocks it, he's ready, Kid D's ready. They're we're just gonna smoke him. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, no, hold on, dog, hold on. I can make this work, hold on. So I get out of the car, I go up to Chucky, and I was like, "Hey, bro, I was like, you see who's behind me? And they're like, and he's like, oh, he's like he's seen a ghost. He knows he's caught slipping, right? And I'm like, here's the deal, bro. I don't think that we should be fighting. We're raza. We shouldn't be fighting each other.
Raza means race. Like we're one blood.
Right. We should be building. I get teared up sometimes when I think about this stuff, man. We should be building each other. And he was like, you're right, man. He's like, you're right. And I was like, look, dude, I'm gonna give you a pass. You know, but if you ever see me out, I expect the same respect.
That's
and
what's up.
he was like, that's what's up, dog. That's what's up. So we left. A couple days go by. At the time, I was dating a girl way older than me. Her name was Carmen. She was like 24. I was like 16. You know,
we'll take that out.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. You know, my father was He consented. It was okay. At the time, I think it was okay. But long story short, we go to Gulfgate Mall, and we're it still exists 40 years later. Yeah.
Different, completely side of town.
Really hood, more hood side of town.
Very hood, but definitely not the north side.
Very Latino. Yeah, that's what's up. And at the time, I was from the north side, but like I said, open city. We're all over the place. And I'm walking through Gulfgate Mall with my girlfriend, and I look up, and what do I see? Chucky, his brother, like 4 other dudes.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And they're walking towards me, man, and I'm like, oh, shit. It's about to go down. So I tell my girlfriend, hey, if anything goes down, just go to your car. I go and I reach in my pockets for my hand packs like I always carried on me. I'm like, either we're going to thump or I'm going to slice them. So I start walking up to him, and Chucky, does this to them, like, chill, comes up to me. Mm-hmm. That still makes me tear up. And he's like, I remember what you did. And he's like, you're right, bro. We are raza. You ain't got nothing coming from this way.
Nice,
like, that's what's up, dog.
And
he left. I mean, I tear up because I'm like, I hope and pray that happens all over the world, where people realize that they don't have to fight like that over stupid, trivial shit.
Yeah.
Long story short, later we go to the high school, and the principal's like, y'all's cliques, because that didn't happen there. I got my pass, but it didn't stop. Like, as I was at that school, when we drive around, we didn't have a lot of dudes there. They had a lot of dudes there. They'd come up to our cars, hit the cars. So finally, the principal was like, we need to get these 2 leaders together and get them to squash this stuff. So this is when I started stepping into OG territory. It only took a year or so before I started becoming an OG. I never claimed it, but they were saying that's what you are. Yeah. I didn't want to claim it because if I claim
other people were naturally seeing your leadership and started following your decision making.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, and they liked me. They loved me, actually. My OGs became my family. I ended up moving in with one of them. You know what I'm saying? And their family, and their family became my family. So, long story short, over time, that ended up squashing because we went and the principal pulled us both in there, and both Chucky and I agreed, and we shook hands, and we're like, we're not going to do this no more. And that was it. And so that gave me some pull, some authority, because they saw that I could, conflict resolution, all these different skill sets. So we still, went around town, beefing with people, but there was an era where they took that perspective. And I think this is how I became more of an OG, where they took that mentality and they were like, okay, all the Crip gangs in Houston, we're going to unite them. And so there was an era at that time where Black Disciples was the largest gang.
That's right.
And then the next largest gang was H-Town Crips, which was United, Rolling 60s, Baby Blue Crips, Crip Cartel.
Houston Crip Cartel.
All the Houston Crip gangs became one unified unit, which made us pretty strong.
At least 1,000 maybe.
According to the Houston Chronicle ad, or the thing that they had.
The newspaper.
Right, at the time.
Newspaper, yeah.
Right. BD was like at 7,000, and we were at like 5. So we were pretty big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And so at this point, when you get to that level of organization, it's about making money.
It's all about making money.
It's all about, because that's why gangs exist.
Well, and making allies.
Yeah. To take over territory.
For power.
Yeah, for power.
Right.
So at what point does it become, hey, I did this to protect myself, to now I'm just basically in a cartel. I'm in an organization that exists to make money, and take territory.
Yeah, get money. No, by any means necessary. I think what happened was whenever my father and I had a falling out, and I moved out on my own. He got tired of me being thuggish, ruggish, and was like, "You got to go."
Right. That's right.
You know, he got to a point where he couldn't really hit me anymore, and because I was becoming big and strong. He's like, you got to go. If you're not gonna go to school and do the right things. So I moved in with my OG, his mom. Hopefully one day we can get him up here. You know, he's my brother. I love him. And that's when things started changing, because at that point I no longer felt like, oh, I'm just a gang member in a gang. This is my family.
Yeah.
This is my family. They feed me. They clothe me.
That's right.
They tell me that I'm loved. They tell me things that, you know, my father or my mother never told me. You know, hey man, you're handsome. Stand up straight. Hey man, like they raised me. You know, Blue raised me, and his family raised me. And when that happened, that's when I became the enforcer. That's when I became like, because I followed Blue everywhere. And if you just looked at him wrong, I would try to smash you. There were times when somebody would try to square up with him, and I remember one time after Treasures, I don't know if I ever told you about this, and this guy was squaring up with him, man. And
Treasures is a
strip club. This guy was trying to square up with Blue, and bro, I smashed him so hard, man. I smashed him so hard. I started hitting him so hard, and with my fists and my knees and my elbows, and I was moving people off of him. I was like, get away. And it was like every bit of anger and rage that from my childhood and everything went out on that dude. And later on, a girl came up and she was like, man, what did you do to my friend? Why did y'all jump him? And they were like, ain't nobody jump him. That was JJ. And I think that when I realized, like, oh, wow, I'm big, I'm strong, I can take pain, I can inflict pain, that I realized that was valuable. You know what I'm saying? Like, they called me Big Six for a reason. I was 6 foot, and most of them were 5'6", 5'7". You know what I'm saying? 6'1". And I knew how to fight because I had been through all this stuff with my pops. My pops was old school. He did not believe. He believed in spare the rod, spoil the child. You know what I mean? So. And
you were always dedicated to martial arts. I mean,
boxing.
We had set up boxing gyms in our friends'
kickboxing,
garages.
wrestling. Different ways to street fight, different weapons, how to deploy them in the middle of a fight. That was like what I lived for. Yeah. I mean, where I came from, people were ranked boxers. Like, there was, when I was growing up, like.
Did you know Alan Rosario? Remember him?
I do. And then there was a guy named, I hope I don't drop his name. Maybe he'll be happy that I dropped his name. This guy named Victor Diabla. Everybody wanted to be him. But he was the baddest boxer in the barrio, bro. Yeah. The baddest mamma jamma, bro. And everybody knew it, and nobody wanted to know.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and everybody had
everyone thinks they won a title fight,
but they don't really want. They don't want a piece of the champ.
Yeah.
And so I grew up idolizing men who they fist fought. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they settled their grievances. There were times when we'd have church, and
churches. Explain church.
Church is when we get together once a week, all of our dudes.
It's an executive board meeting.
Yeah, we talk about politics. Well, sometimes it was just like
family get together.
Even non-OGs would come. Like it would be 50, 60, 70 dudes each section. We had section like the P section, H section.
A lot of people I just want to make sure the audience understands. So the term church is used often by criminal organizations as the term for a board meeting or leadership coming together to make decisions.
Pretty much.
It's church.
Yeah. And I mean, in these situations, we'd have, like, for instance, the reason why I never wanted to be called an OG is because I saw one guy get OG because he was like me. He was able to recruit people and make money. His name was Gumby. Hope you're still alive, bro. But Smiley didn't like the fact. No, sorry, not Smiley. Kid D didn't like the fact that he made OG before Kid D did, because Kid D did a lot of dirt, more dirt than Gumby, way more.
It's weird. If you're an earner, you tend to garner in this life. If you earn for not just yourself but your crew and your boss, you will tend to get leadership faster than those who actually do dirt. Well, I think cleanup guys will.
I think it's what it is. Is intellect. So? Intellect beats brawn. But if you have intellect and brawn,
then you're a boss.
That's
what's up.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so
that's very, very well said.
So I kept to myself, and I literally saw D was like so mad. He's like, "Nah, you ain't no motherfucking OG, bro. What's up? Let's square off." And so we all got in a circle
at church.
We hold hands, and they square off and they box. They get it sorted. And Gumby proved that he wasn't no punk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and he got to keep his status.
He kept that leadership.
You know, he kept his
position.
status. Now,
good.
it wasn't long before, over time the gang dissipated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Men went to jail. They realized people weren't really there for them because we weren't checking for people in jail. We were young. We didn't understand the value in that.
And the older you get, in that life, the older you get, the more it really does become about money. And the sense of influence, the sense of family wanes, and the desire and the greed takes over in these organizations.
Well, yeah, I think what happened with us was we didn't get corrupted. What happened was everyone graduated into cartel members.
Yeah.
So they went. We were baby gangsters, but all of these men that were
You were running the product for the cartels at the street level.
Because some of the members' fathers and uncles were cartel members.
OG cartel.
Yeah.
And we're talking south of the border.
We're talking. There's a
But
certain corridor.
Let's not.
The Texas corridor.
Yeah,
let's.
And that's all we're going to talk about though, because we don't want to go.
I don't want to name names.
We're definitely not going to go there,
Right.
Because it's not. It doesn't. It's not relative to the
Doesn't
story,
matter.
right?
Over time, what happened was, as more money began to come in,
When you talk about money, what amounts of money? Like $10, $20?
I mean, let me put it this way: my OGs were moving, and they've already done their time for this, so I'm not afraid to say it. They were moving like they were getting keys for $5,000 on the other side.
Yeah.
They were putting them in vehicles.
A key is a
kilo cocaine.
okay.
And they were getting them for $5,000 on the other side. They were bringing them over here, smuggling them across the border. This was pre 9/11, and then they were selling them for $30,000 a key.
Yeah.
And they were bringing in
truckloads, semi trucks.
Well, what they would do is they'd get forerunners and pre-runners, and they'd pull off the panels.
Yeah.
Right.
We won't get into the details.
No, I don't mind talking about it.
But there was a steady flow of narcotics.
Yes.
And
there were many ways to get it in. It wasn't just driving. There was tunnels. There was all sorts of shit.
We're not talking about tens of thousands.
No, we're talking about millions.
We're talking about millions. And
tens of millions. Yeah.
Some of your OGs, they were driving Ferraris.
They were driving M3s, Mercedes. Yeah. Some of the other guys that were messing with the ecstasy
fully restored
stuff.
Impalas.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was a lot of money. There's a lot of money in the ghetto.
We were young, meaning like 19, and we lived in our own house.
Yes.
I mean, that type of money, right?
Yeah.
And so at some point, this lifestyle, it changes you to a point of no return.
Yeah.
So obviously this isn't who you are today.
Yeah.
You own a company, Community Action PDX.
Yes.
You own Pacific Northwest Fire Watch.
Yep.
You're a successful businessman. At some point, you had to have made a decision to
walk away.
And
yeah.
So explain that process and explain how you're able to do that in that life. How you can walk away.
I wouldn't have been able to walk away if I wasn't so close to Blue and Smiley.
So your OGs.
They were my OGs, but by this time they were my brothers. Smiley was the real dangerous, crazy guy that if you even just called him bitch or you wore red around him, he would violate. He'd be like, you're in violation.
So he's essentially like a sergeant at arms.
He's a sergeant at arms.
He's keeping the standard in the crew. Yeah. So he's not only an outside enforcer, and Smiley's a long-term friend. He's a great guy. Yeah. He's enforcing the standard within that organization as well. So and that's a critical role in any organization. You have to maintain standards, and he was the best.
And he had to maintain reputation too. Yeah. And he was known as a crazy, dangerous man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And Blue was like, damn, man.
I mean, he's one of the most charismatic people I've ever met in my entire life.
He's like Big Meech, or he's like like a Vito Corleone. Like he's just like
The Rock.
Something like he was a leader.
There's a magnetic
dude. You just
power.
You just love the dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Such a great guy.
And his father was really deep connected.
His mom
and his brothers were really deep connected in Mexico.
The whole family really is just a really charismatic, just vibe that you get. It's amazing.
And so what happened was, I'm a musician. We haven't stated that, but I've been singing since I was young.
That's right.
And at the time, we were using our connections to get me into a major record label.
Yeah.
And we were being courted by a major record labels, and I was offered a major record deal.
You were, and you had a song that you wrote that was on the radio.
Right, on the radio. So a couple of them. And I just, well, what had happened was I'd set up a deal between all of my people and the cartels and someone else to basically work a deal with the Israeli mafia to give them cocaine in Amsterdam for a fraction of the cost of what they were used to paying. In return, we'd get ecstasy pills for 25 cents a pill. There was a guy who would take it over there and bring it back, and we were setting that up. We had done it once or twice, and we were setting that up to do for future.
So you had gone from a corner street drug dealer,
Yeah,
to being an OG in a street gang cartel, Crip cartel,
right.
in Houston,
Right.
to directly working for larger cartel organizations
Yes.
that are actually producing and
Manufacturing.
trafficking,
Yep.
narcotics, and
yes.
we'll say cocaine at this point, because
Yeah.
this is really before, this at this point,
Meth wasn't really kicking it.
the biker gangs
Yeah.
really were controlling meth,
Yeah.
and no one really wanted to step on. You don't step on them.
Well, it just wasn't. It wasn't as lucrative as the
Yeah.
cocaine trade, and
It's pretty expensive to make. It wasn't being mass produced.
Right.
So cocaine's really the deal. At this point, you're going from city, state, and national to international level. So you're connecting to organizations that
Yes.
are across the ocean. I mean,
So, we thought it was a good idea to, we went to our local bar at the time. I don't want to name it because then people will be able to single out where we were exactly. But we would go to our local bar, and I had my emissary from the Israeli mafia was with me. And then we had our guys, and we went and we picked up some ladies, and we went back to a hotel, and we had this big old party. And at that party, I had a spiritual awakening
what did that
the
mean?
next day.
Were you on ayahuasca?
No, I was sober by the next day.
Okay.
I had a let's just say a Saul of Tarsus moment, or
I don't think the audience will know who that is, but
that's okay. The ones who do, that's what's up.
So speaking more frankly, you became a born again Christian.
Yes. Yes.
And that conversion process led you to believe that you could no longer maintain this level of activity.
I couldn't do it anymore. Basically, I had to choose between life or death.
And for you, that your faith became more important than even the family that became your family in childhood.
More important than my family, more important than my record deal.
That's right.
I gave up my record deal.
You did. I remember that.
Yeah. More important than anything. And
this faith that you have now is what has led you to the community activities
yeah.
that you're doing now, right?
Yeah.
So we're going into the same type of neighborhoods
That I'm used to being around.
that we grew up in, right?
Yeah.
And we're trying to make a difference, a positive impact on that community.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's what's, so I think that's what's going on with me now. All of that led me to a place now where I've been able to lead men, not in a military fashion, but on the street. And I've felt the joy of those men all working for good.
That's right.
To create unity and good within their their area and their neighborhood.
And a lot of these men that you employ are former felons,
Yes.
gang members,
Yes,
and not just from here or Texas, but actually from all across the country.
that's right. I have a Vice Lord nomad that works for me. I have I have a couple Bloods that work for me. Former Bloods.
Yeah.
The Vice Lord is still a Vice Lord,
Yeah,
but
you're working on him.
I love and care about that dude, and I hope that he's actually working on himself, man.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I'm saying? He really is, and he's a leader. He just doesn't know it yet.
All right. So I'm just going to transition because
Yeah.
JJ, and there's a lot of details here that we're not going into, that stories we could be telling, but we don't want to glorify that life. That life was about survival.
Yeah.
And it's not about building community. There's nothing hopeful and joyful about that life. That life always gets you into a position that's going to destroy your life and the life of your entire family. Yeah. And so we're kind of talking about this today because you're going to go on your first ride along.
Yeah.
You've watched me. I kind of got out of that life at a young age, went into the military, and actually went into law enforcement. There was a long period of time when we didn't even talk to each other.
Yeah.
because
about 7 years, about 7.
and I, exactly, and so we're reunited again. We're working together, and so you're here today to give the audience and all of the viewers here a better understanding when people are walking into these neighborhoods and you're seeing what might appear to be something mundane or ordinary. You're going to give us that perspective of, no, this is criminal activity.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and to speak to that, like, and I've seen it. And what I'd like to kind of like let the audience be able to see through my eye is the level of organization that is there, and the level of organization that, depending on who the OG is, would be there.
Yeah.
And what's needed, because I very much believe in your security through community paradigm.
I appreciate it, bro.
I think that would be really awesome is if the security companies could work hand in hand with the local OGs.
Yeah.
Because I believe they'll never not be there.
No, you're not going to get rid of gangs.
You're not going to get rid of that stuff because it's really the grassroots of a community organization.
But you can broker these you can engage in a reconciliation process, kind of like what your high school principal did.
Yeah.
And you can stop violence if someone's willing to stand up and be in the gap and pull these parties in.
Yeah.
You can actually stop kids from being murdered.
Well, and you can create order.
Yes.
Because, if you have, derelict OGs, they're not going to get the work done. But if you had somebody like, myself or Blue or Smiley, like, that's all we'd be doing.
Yeah.
Is getting the work done to make sure that there's order on the streets, so there's no one fucking paying attention to us.
Yeah.
So we can make our money.
Yeah.
Right now, the way it is right now, it's like, dude, it's just a matter of time before this all gets destroyed. And whoever's making their money right now, they're not going to be able to make it no more.
Yeah.
But if they would act as a order-bringing, group and maybe give some positive to the community, you could see some change and some difference.
And hopefully this will even change them.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Because once they see that their power is being used for good, but I think that, what happens is once you start using your power for, disorder, you know what I'm saying? It becomes addictive. The power in general is addictive, but I think it becomes addictive when
it's like the old adage by Lord Acton, power corrupts, and
but
absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening.
The more untouchable you feel you are, the more, you really want to take command and control.
Yeah.
And grow.
And the level of hubris is just through the roof.
Yeah, hubris, that pride, ego takes over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming into the studio.
For sure.
I know that, these are things that went on decades ago, and sometimes it's hard to talk about it. And I think that you've done a really great job kind of explaining, giving an understanding of being in that Chicano gang culture. And I'm really thankful that you're here, and I'm excited about getting out on the streets. And
I'm pumped up about it too, man.
Yeah.
Let's go do that.
Let's go.
All right.
Appreciate it. We'll be on the streets next time you see us. Appreciate it. Thanks. All right, cool, man.
So how's the tents been coming along around here?
It's good, bro. That lady Carolyn, we contacted 3-4 days ago.
Right.
We got her. We had to put her at a hotel, so we bridged her for a night, and then we got her into a tiny home yesterday.
That's nice, man.
Yeah. So, and we put her in a emergency shelter. Transitioned her there for like 2 days.
Right.
So 1 hotel day, 2 transition days, and then the final day, she got into a tiny home village. It's pretty cool.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
And that whole car.
Yeah. So how long did she end up staying in the hotel? How'd that end up going down?
I gotta take this.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
So yeah, I think she was going crazy like she was because she.
Her kids died of overdose.
Yeah, but I think she didn't. She just wanted to know that she had some place to stay, man.
Yeah, she would. They basically were gonna try to have her arrested. They called the cops.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, "You're not gonna do that." This lady, she's insane, man. She's talking to herself. And I was like, let me talk to her.
And Jill talked her down, huh?
No, we did. Oh, that was the next day. We gave her a couple cigarettes. I was like, "What's up? You need a cigarette?" She's like, "Yeah, that sounds good." I was like, "Why you got these people going?" She's like, oh, "Well, I don't have a place to stay tonight, and I'm kind of scared." I was like, "How long you been out on the streets?" 2 months. Where you from? California. Why? Well, you look like pretty normal. She goes, "Yeah, I was a teacher. I'm a retired teacher from California." I was like, "Why are you like on the streets of Portland right now?" And she said, "Both my kids, I had 2 children, and they both died of an overdose recently, and I just gave up. I just don't want to live." That's rough, bro.
I wonder if people were faced with the facts, maybe like guys that are in the game, if they knew how this affected people, that they would still stay in. Some of them probably wouldn't do.
Yeah. All right, give a man a fish. All right, the whole thing.
You be coming down here not strapped, bro?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I don't carry a gun, bro. Yeah.
We went in Portland. If I was in Houston, I'd be strapped.
It is a different game up here, but it's dangerous.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of my guys, team members, have responded to fire. I mean, just the other day, we have a guy named Haynes, did wound care. A guy got shot in the neck, and we actually kept him alive. He made it, but yeah, we responded to a lot of
shenanigans.
Yeah.
All right, so there's some people out here on the Pearl today, like from the Pearl today, trying to clean up camps.
Yep. So this is always good, When we're on the streets, we obviously look a lot like either former law enforcement, former G's.
Right.
And so it's kind of like urban camo. You want to be able to mix in with different groups. You're always trying to get good information on the street.
Right.
Who did this? Who did that? Right.
Bro, I can't believe that this many tents are allowed in the public space.
Yeah. So.
Well, if you don't do nothing about it, then you're for it, right?
So we're looking for Spence.
There's a whole bunch of bags there, right there, that need to be picked up.
All right, let's head that way.
All right.
I don't know where everyone is. So he should be right here. So they started at a different place. We got bad information. We'll head that way.
Come on.
I wonder who that guy is.
Mm-hmm. There's a whole group over there, though.
Yeah.
So everything been good out here?
All right, man. So we'll just contact the tent and see if there's anyone home.
Hello, anybody home?
You okay over there?
Hey, brother, you all right? You go, turn. He's all right.
Hold on. Hold on, man. No.
Hey, brother, you good? Hey, you good? Okay, all right, try to make sure you're all right. How you been, man? Yeah? Okay.
Sleeping?
Check on you later.
Woo. So coming out in the morning is obviously hard because people are sleeping. You really want to give people the ability to wake up.
Hey,
But
how are you? You okay?
And why?
She sleeps here every morning.
Yeah.
She doesn't want a tent. She doesn't like tents.
nice.
So she just sleeps on the street.
Yeah.
So
Why do you wake them up?
why do we wake him up?
Well, I thought he might be overdosing.
I wasn't
He
trying
might
to
need
wake him up,
he
so
might
I
have
make
needed
sure
an
he's good.
Narcan.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a thing, like, hey, we come around in the morning, make sure they're all awake.
No.
You know?
No.
Let him sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy is it's like you got all this beautiful roses and greenery, and then you're hit with just reality.
Yeah.
So this is all ODOT
Yeah.
property.
Okay. And
I'll take it back.
through Oregon
Thanks, bro.
Department of Transportation.
We don't have any gloves though, huh?
So
What is this?
this is ODOT property. So this is what we had a meeting about yesterday.
Yeah. I had gloves at the office, but
Right.
So they found out yesterday. for the city to come out and post for ODOT, it takes a lot more. But if it's a city property, they can come out and post whatever they want to.
Why?
What's that?
Why does it take a lot more for ODOT?
Because ODOT doesn't go by the same standards or necessarily agree with some of the postings. So they don't want people. Going on their property and doing things without their permission.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's more of a power thing. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
No, it is. They want you to get permits
What are you guys
and
doing?
So
boss?
bureaucracy is getting in the way of being effective.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, it's like it's like anything in the city. It's all bureaucracy. But
Is there a shot caller for this area? Really?
Hey, you good?
And is it impossible to engage them to try to
Okay,
help?
awesome.
Somebody got beat up out here.
And they
That's
they
fine.
already do. They're helping the best they
The
can.
other day it was sledgehammer.
yeah, they do.
Really?
Yeah, I
Some of them are part of the problem.
I put in the chat.
Like, you know, they've been
I didn't see it.
Lady out here with a sledgehammer pipe,
I
big
can talk to
fight.
them all I want, but
I broke them up.
Police
called
come?
for Echelon. No,
Police show?
No, they didn't show up.
you know,
Everybody took off when I rolled over
if he
here.
likes where he's at, I'm not
And then
gonna. I don't try to
Yeah.
cramp the style at all. So.
I broke it up.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Good.
everybody, Cody
Like
showed
there
up.
was,
Doing
they
good?
sweep other places so then they come down here. So
Good.
Was the trash bag?
like we had
Trash
all
bags?
this, so.
What do you
All
think the
this.
biggest problem is? If we had like beds, could we get them
Oh,
all in?
absolutely.
Really?
I was denied.
Crazy.
I was denied 9 beds yesterday. 9 people I could have got inside yesterday, and I already have a 15-person waiting list. So that's what 24 people.
Yeah.
This week that we couldn't get in, just this week alone.
So, we're back on the streets. We're here every day doing cleanups and trying to get people into shelter. We're contacting people in the tent. It's a little early. I would say, about 50% are probably still sleeping. So, it's always better to get people usually right after lunchtime. That's usually the best time to get someone to shelter. We've got a lot of community partners out here today. One of us joining us is Stan Penkin. Stan, you want to introduce yourself? Give us a little background.
Sure. Stan Penkin, president of the Pro District Neighborhood Association. Also director of a new nonprofit called the Northwest Community Conservancy. And we're working with Echelon and loving one another to help take care of the problems on our streets in a humanitarian way, helping get people into shelter and services. And we've got community members out here that we regularly to help clean up the streets and help take care of our neighborhood.
Where are we today? What area is this?
Well, this is the area along the I-405
Okay.
that's been a difficult area where there are many campers, many accumulations of trash, and we've been working on this area for many, many months. We keep coming back, trying to keep it clean, trying to keep it from getting worse, and it's a continuing saga to try to keep this area clean and to keep people safe.
And so it's obviously we're in an underpass, not kind of a man-made shelter, right? What else about it is making it difficult? Why are people wanting to gather here and congregate here in tents?
Well, I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons is that the city and actually ODOT, who owns this property, they're not taking care of it.
So the Oregon Department of Transportation,
Correct.
ODOT, okay.
And the city.
Well, it's a little complicated because there's a intergovernmental agreement between the city and ODOT. The city's supposed to be taking care of these areas, but they have to be funded by ODOT. They ran out of funds. Now they have some more funds. It's really a back and forth.
So it sounds like bureaucracy is stopping progress.
There's no consistency.
No consistency.
So it's an issue of resources. That's part of it.
Yeah.
And so we're out here doing the best that we can because we can't depend on our government to do everything.
Right.
That's right.
And they can't do everything.
Yeah.
We need public-private partnerships to really improve things and make things happen.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you talking with us today. I know I don't want to stop you because we're here to clean up and engage. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it, Stan. Thanks.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
Back to work.
Back to work. Got to work. What we like to do during the week, we're hitting this property every day, and really just any area where there's accumulation of trash and tents, and we like to hand out trash bags. And people will tend to clean their own areas. They just need trash bags to do that, and then we pick up those trash on a regular cycle, take them to the dump. JJ's company, Community Action PDX, is one of the partners we use to do some of these cleanups and some of these dump runs. It's been very effective.
Yeah.
So,
This breaks my heart, man.
kind of turning over this conversation, like, do you see a criminal element operating here?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think you see going on right now?
I mean, people are still waking up. I think the people that were really active were on that side over there. It was the guys that were right here, actually. And one of them was riding around
Yep.
a couple different
You
times.
saw that, the guy on the bike
Yeah,
with the mask?
trying to get a good understanding of who we were. And
So
what
he
we were
probably
doing.
is running
Yeah,
this
look out.
area, working this area.
Look out.
This is Wilson, former law enforcement. She's part of our ops team, and we're out here, and we're just discussing that there's been a gentleman, a white male, probably 20s, with a black face mask, and he's been riding on a bicycle, a little BMX bike, and he's the spotter and a lookout for what's going on right now.
Right, and their guys are here though. Once they saw that people started coming with all of the trash cleaning and
Yep.
all the cameras, they're starting to book. They're putting their stuff away.
Yep.
Yeah, they were asking a lot of questions.
Yeah,
They're
they're
dealing over there.
yeah they're
Yeah, for
dealing
sure.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I mean, and it's
And
easy to see.
prostitution over there.
It's pretty easy to see.
So obviously, yeah, one of the reasons we're here is because, you know, as an overall business model, we're trying to show that you don't have to, in order to do security, one of the key elements, I think, moving forward with this new paradigm is community engagement, and how community engagement actually leads to less crime. And this is the prime example. We come out here, we only had like 10 volunteers, but we're spread out enough to where we're taking up like 3 or 4 blocks.
No. Is it you still want this too that was on the ground?
Yeah.
Okay, you can have that. There you go. And this tin we can throw away too?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I got you at the top of the list for a shelter. I got somebody into a tiny home yesterday.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I really want.
You want a tiny home?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be opening up. So, and those new ones are really nice. They actually have enough for 2 people. They have a kitchen. They have a
I know.
refrigerator.
That's what. Because my husband, he's in jail right now, but he's gonna be getting out soon.
How long do you think till he gets out? You don't know. Okay. Well, it'd be nice for you to be in a place when he gets out, you know?
Let's see if we can get someone else to talk to us, yeah?
Yeah.
Come on. Hello, how's your day today?
It's all right.
You want to talk to us today? We're doing a kind of a documentary. We're trying
I
to,
actually walked by you guys the other day.
awesome, where were we?
You guys were going into a building. I was pushing a cart full of carts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, over on Hoyt.
Yeah.
Yesterday, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So my name's Alex Stone. This is my cousin JJ Arevalo.
JJ, pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet
So what's your name?
you. Kayletta.
Kalina?
No, Kayletta.
Kayletta. Okay.
There you go.
Thanks for being patient with me. I don't hear well.
Neither do I.
Kayletta,
But
yeah. So you're currently homeless,
yeah.
right? You're living in a tent.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, I got evicted from our apartment, mine and my husband's apartment.
Yeah.
And we just haven't had any luck with the housing. God bless this guy right over here.
Spence? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing, isn't he? Yeah.
He's been trying to get me either into a shelter or a tiny home. And Monday he's going to talk to his compact about getting us into a tiny home.
Oh, that's amazing. I know we got a lady named Carolyn into a tiny home yesterday, and
Yeah.
so that's amazing.
Yeah.
How long have you been on the streets?
Me and my husband, we've been on the streets for going on almost a year and a half.
A year and a half. Wow. And for your mental health, I mean, that's got to be kind of hard, right? I mean, I would imagine.
I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And so you're lucky to have a husband. A lot of women on the streets, they're kind of vulnerable out here. A lot of the
Yeah.
women, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
A lot of them end up being trafficked.
Yeah, there's a lady that I know. She's
I gotta go deal with this lady down there.
Yeah.
she's kind of, I guess she used to be more sane like I am,
Yeah.
but now she's, unfortunately, I don't want to say too much about her, but
Yeah, of course. You don't have to mention any names. Yeah.
now she just screams at herself and
It's so
I
sad.
don't know what to do.
We're
Yeah.
talking about the lady over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kayla, I'm so glad you talked to us. I know that everything's lots going on today. You're really busy. So Spencer, who works with Loving One Another, he's going to check in with you tomorrow.
Okay.
Is that right?
No, he said
Monday.
Monday. He's
Okay.
gonna check in with his contact on Monday, and then hopefully
Yeah.
we can get me into one. He
Yeah.
said that there was some room up on the 122nd, and
Awesome.
I'll go today
Yeah.
if we can get me into one today. But
Yeah.
of course, it's Saturday, Sunday. There's not
It's
much.
almost impossible. So in this industry, sheltering someone on the weekend is nearly impossible. There are emergency shelters, but for couples, especially couples, it's almost non-existent. It's very difficult.
Well, right now it would be just me because the fact is my husband is locked up.
Okay.
So
I'm so sorry to hear that.
that's kind of why I need a phone.
Yeah. Well, I'm so sorry, Kayla. Wow. This is hard work. It's hard being on the streets. I was homeless. JJ's been there as a kid as well. I'm so sorry you're going through this.
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard.
Yeah. Here. All right, we'll let you get back to it, okay? All right. Thank you for your time.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
All right. Let's go talk to some folks. Yeah. We'll just chill here for a bit.
Okay.
Cameras might escalate someone with mental health issues, so we're gonna just stay here while Spencer's dealing with this issue. There's a couple other people out here. I would like to see if they would talk to us for a couple minutes because it's important for people to see that community engagement really is the future of security work. It's the future of owning your neighborhood and keeping it safe. Hey, Glenn. Can you talk to us? So we're doing a ride along today. One of the riders is Jeremy Arevalo. He owns a company called Community Action PDX. He does a lot of remediation for properties, really large properties, industrial areas. And we're talking about how community engagement it takes away the criminal element. You know, when people are out here picking up trash every day, which is I know you're passionate about, criminals see that and they don't want to be here anymore because they don't want witnesses. So can you kind of talk about what you're doing here today and the good work that your organization is doing?
Well, it's all about taking over your turf,
It is,
your
yeah.
neighborhood, occupying the space. What happened during the COVID, everybody was in apartments for 2 years in their houses.
Yeah.
So basically nobody took over the streets. It was basically empty, right?
Yeah.
Or very close to empty. And then all of a sudden COVID's over and now we want to take over, use our streets again. And we find out there's other elements that have taken it over.
That's right.
So now right now we're in a transition or a process of taking over our streets again, getting back to the normal everyday use so we can feel safe. Right now, many people don't feel safe walking around our neighborhood at night. So as a community, in Portland, I think in the Pearl District in particular, what we want to do is get a series of walks and activities
Yes.
of people activating the
Yes.
streets and activating the sidewalks, especially in the evenings. So if somebody coming from work, a woman comes from work, she wants to walk her dog, she can go out and walk that loop around the
Yeah.
neighborhood and feel safe, not because there's police or guards, but because there's other people walking there. And then, we have such a great, we're in a high density vertical neighborhood. People can look at the streets. It's in fact better than any camera.
It is, yeah.
That you can have.
So many people will call.
As long as people have a place to call,
That's right.
they know they can make a difference.
That's right.
People know what's going on in their neighborhood.
That's right.
They only need an outlet or an avenue to take that information to the people that can do something about
Yeah.
it. So,
I really appreciate your time today, Glenn.
Yeah.
Glenn and I have known each other for years. We've been working on similar initiatives, and we're always on different boards. We see each other all the time, and I got to tell you, you have been more determined to get this done than almost anyone else in the city, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
We can do it.
We are doing it.
We can make a difference.
We are making it today.
Don't let somebody else do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it yourself.
That's right. Personal ownership, taking
But we
responsibility.
need leadership like Alex to direct all these resources and this energy into the right way.
Thanks,
That's the
man.
most important,
Yeah.
is the leadership.
Appreciate
Then
it.
you'll find people to follow.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Awesome. All right. I think we walk around a little bit. Did anyone see where Spence went?
That way.
So he's still dealing with the mental health stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You want to go over there?
No. There's in sociology, there's this idea of the third space. Starbucks adopted that idea. You have home, you have work, and then that third space or that third place. And
We'll walk this way, around this thing.
yeah. And so during COVID, the rise of crime, which is a generational thing, the increase of drug use, all these things, they've eroded public space in that third place or that extra space where people occupy when they're not home and not at work. And when you do that, they essentially disinvest emotionally from space. And then when people no longer have that emotional attachment, people no longer, monies don't flow into that. People stop investing money-wise. And criminal organizations just take over. They realize that, like broken windows, if that broken window doesn't get fixed on that building, no one cares about that building, that block is a good place to sell dope.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? As a former gang guy, you see the potentiality out here for gangs to take over?
They already have.
Yeah, they have. You want to come in?
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, Reid Kerr, COO, Echelon Protective Services. Can you talk about how security is important, not just the outreach efforts, but how security kind of works alongside these outreach efforts?
Yeah, we're here every day. We know
Yeah.
everybody. We know her. We know the three people that are sitting over there. We know everyone.
Yep.
I mean, we're here working alongside, and
That's right.
we play the long game.
Yep.
We don't walk up and I'm Mr. Stud Muffin, and you need to be intimidated by me. The long game is that through going here and building relationships, doing a lot of the similar things that Loa does.
I love it.
Working with Loa, understanding people's names and getting to know them over time, we're able to, build a good enough relationship to where we can actually make a difference around here.
That's right.
Where these people actually, when we show up, oh, hey, Reid, this happened to me, right? So that's what we do.
And do you see a difference in the level of engagement from criminal organizations? Right? Can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, I think they're like what Jay said. I think they're here already. They're operating. I mean, clearly that's a thing. The difference is that when you're a criminal and you're trying to do your thing, and you've got somebody that has the ability to access law enforcement, access different people, different systems.
Yep.
It makes it a little more uncomfortable to do what you're doing, and it's kind of that classic path of least resistance. We're not here to stop freaking gangs.
No, of course
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We need the FBI. We need all this stuff. That's not our purpose.
That's right.
However, if we're just there, it's just enough to where possibly somebody's going to say, "Hey, let's do our dirt over here 5 streets."
That's right.
That way.
Perfect.
Versus just right here.
Perfect example.
Yep.
That's excellent. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, let's go engage over here. Let's go talk to some folks.
Love it. Jill checked on him earlier.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, we had a guy completely nodded off over here, but he was able to talk.
Oh, good.
So.
Yeah, these.
Have a good day.
Those are definitely the ones selling, bro.
Yeah. They're selling dope for sure.
We ain't use it. The boy guy wasn't using
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Totally sober.
So you think the ones that are selling know what they're doing?
Yeah,
They know they're creating like a
I think so. Yeah.
group of like people enslaved to the drugs,
For sure.
They just don't care.
Just made a deal.
Okay.
Need you to help.
Yeah. What's up?
Dude behind me, he's like the block boss.
Yeah.
He's taking all these tents to move for me.
Yeah.
Like, what do you need?
Yeah.
He's thinking about what he needs. A new tent. I said we can give a new tent, but I don't know what else because there's a lot of tents to move. Do you want to negotiate something with him?
Got some Jaeger.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
Why don't you let Jay talk to him? This is Jay.
What you need, bro?
Yeah.
I'm looking after these cats over here.
Do
Well,
they
I
need
told him our
things?
deal.
Yeah,
Okay.
get everybody off the block for you guys.
What do you think they need?
I'll ask. Make a list if they really need something.
Is anybody trying to get in homes?
Yeah, every one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they on lists or?
I don't know.
Well, I've talked to Amy Jo in the first tent. I've talked to Aaron and Susie in the second tent up here. They're signed up. They're supposed to be. They're on the list. It could be a week to 3 months.
That's crazy,
So,
man. Is that discouraging?
he has a house. Why don't you just tell him
Oh,
your
that's
story?
what's up.
I live in Salmon Creek, Washington.
He's looking
I'm
out
Oh,
for his
nice, man.
brother.
My brother's here.
Nice.
He doesn't have to be out here, but he's out here.
And you're here just trying to watch his back?
Yeah, he's in the tent next to the red one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then, like, you came down here for your brother, and then just everybody knows you, respects you? That's what's up.
So you run the block here.
Well, kinda.
Yeah. I mean, you seem really squared away.
That's
You,
what's up.
you know what's up,
Yeah.
right?
It's rough down there.
Yeah.
Can be.
If you're willing to make a deal, bro, and you can help some of these people move,
Mm-hmm.
Jill's completely authorized to make that deal. Whatever you need, we can get you.
All right, I'll make a list and ask these cats what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah.
That's cool.
This block
Get that list and then start
cleaned up
negotiating.
bare and the
Figure it
grass
out.
will be back on.
And then come grab
Yeah,
my
I mean,
card.
that's
You
cool,
wanna,
but I mean, the real issue is,
I was just telling him, man.
I don't
you
have
know
any-
what, you
or any weapon on
appreciate
me.
people's homes.
I'm
when
sorry.
They're doing this shit, you know what I mean?
You want to make it happen on Monday or Tuesday?
well, that's
Tuesday?
pretty cool of you to do
Yeah,
that, man.
come by
Tuesday.
Monday. You don't
on
work
Pretty
Monday.
cool to do.
Okay,
So,
come by
Tuesday.
Tuesday morning and we'll get a deal going.
Yes, sir.
And if anyone wants a shelter, we got you. Okay.
we'll work it
And
out.
your brother, is he in the tent?
Yeah.
I don't
Is
know.
there anything we can help him with?
I don't know. I had to kick his ass.
I know you did.
Okay.
He's the one
So
that-
we're here every day doing this. Every day.
Every
doing
day.
This. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good job. Good job. Yeah. Tuesday.
Yeah, I hope
Good.
that he's legit with that deal.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Legit, I think he's the one providing the dope.
He is. He just offered me a bag when I walked up.
He's the one
He goes, you
providing
dropped
the dope.
this. I go,
No,
I
no, no.
did.
He's selling dope for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah. He goes, you dropped this. I go,
he's
"Oh."
willing to move because he knows this is going to be an active area.
That's what's up.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Let's transition to. We're going to go
All
talk to
right,
Ken.
is he okay?
Sorry, I got like
You're
gloves.
good
I
here?
don't wanna get-
All right,
What's
my
your
bad.
name again, bro?
Nick.
JJ.
Okay, go for it.
Good to
Well,
meet
how
you.
long have you
That's
lived
what's
in
up.
Salmon
Yeah.
Creek?
What's that?
How long have you lived up there?
15 years.
Yo, right on here.
Alan, it's good to see you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to follow up.
I know.
One of the tents said, "Abandon all hope, he who enters here."
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. Time
Good.
bags.
So I think he's going to get all 8 or 9 of these tents to move on Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where are they gonna go?
I don't know.
Crazy, man.
They get to choose where they go.
It's true.
It's agency, right?
Yeah.
So, good question.
Any of them gonna go to the shelter?
That's what we're trying to line that up. Jill's going to start lining up shelters on Monday.
Sweet.
So by the time we come out here, we already have beds reserved on Tuesday morning.
Cool.
So we're hoping. I mean, there's like 9 people. So if we get 2, that's a big
That's
win.
huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's great.
That is great. I'm concerned about Spencer. Can someone check him?
Yeah, I'll go look. I'll go find him.
He's with that lady who's, the mental health subject.
I'm en route.
He's gone though. We don't know where he is.
Reid. Down the block, left is where I saw him go. So then after everybody picks these up, does somebody come around and pick? And,
Yes,
and
Spencer will come back in the van or the truck, and we'll throw all
dump
the bags.
everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have Reid checking in on Leif, right? Leif's mic'd up, so we don't know, but we don't know what's going on. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's gonna go take her out to lunch and get her some smokes, and then she's fine.
Okay,
That's what's up. She just needed some hope.
awesome. She's friends with Kayletta, the lady we interviewed earlier,
Yep.
and she said that this mental health crisis is a recent thing. That she was completely normal just a couple months ago.
Wow. You think it's a fentanyl?
I don't know. I would imagine drug induced. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I would imagine. So.
I mean, have they really studied long-term
Effects?
effects of using fentanyl over and over and over and over
I don't
again
think
on
so.
a daily basis?
It's relatively
Oh,
new,
it does.
and plus all these designer drugs from China,
Yeah.
right?
What
Crank
is
and all that.
what is fentanyl?
Trank?
Like, is it an opioid?
It's a synthetic heroin.
Okay.
But the thing about it is what they're saying is there's really no drug right now that doesn't have it in it.
Yeah.
So even your meth, your cocaine, they're finding any test that they do, there's still traces of fentanyl within it, which is just a totally new thing.
Well, I mean, it's going to end up killing a lot of people.
It already has. It already has.
So,
so we got to be around.
we're out here on the streets. We're in Portland under the 405. We just talked to another guy in a green vest. His name was Stan Pinkin.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know him, but
Right. Oh,
okay.
he's the PDNA board chair.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so
this is a PDNA livability safety cleanup.
okay, great. And your name is Ken?
Yeah.
We'll just go by Ken. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
fine.
And so what's kind of the purpose of this activity?
Well, it's working with Sally Mize, who does all of our tent counts, but also helps us on all the cleanup stuff along with the clean team that we
Awesome.
have. So these is actually people that actually work on the clean teams.
Yeah.
They come out and do periodic cleanups of sites like this.
Nice.
And we pick a couple times a month to do that. And
Okay.
I think, because we also know Loa's out here working. It's a good time on a Saturday morning to work with them to go interact with
That's
the camps
excellent,
while
yeah.
we're cleaning it up. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great
In fact,
opportunity to work
that
together.
organization you just mentioned is striking a deal for Monday for 9 of these tents to actually move.
Good, good.
And
Now,
we're-
do we have a place to move them?
Well, we can't decide that. That's for them to decide. But we think that there's going to be at least 2 of the 9 that are going to get into shelters.
Right.
So we're going to try to find those shelters Monday morning
Great.
and then transition them on Tuesday.
Great.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
And so,
That's the objective. We can get the county and the city to work with us.
if we, yeah.
Yeah, that's the key.
How do we do that?
Well, I think it's outreach. We've got to all work to talk with our county and city leaders, and Dan Fields, the new head of the Joint Commission.
Should we get a petition? Do we start doing hey, we're going to have a petition. We're going to have people sign up. We're going to get 5,000 signatures. I mean,
No, I think you have to get a groundswell of people that do
Right,
it,
yeah.
because I think the risk we have right now is with the city's new rule, being on the sidewalks during the day, we're going to see an increase, especially along places like the 405.
I think you're right.
Due to the fact that this isn't policed in taking care of this much.
So,
if
Ju-
they think they can stay here full time, then that will create a problem.
So what Ken is discussing is starting July 1st, they're going to a kind of retroactive banning of tenting and camping during the days. So when the sun comes up, the tent goes down. When the sun goes down, the tent goes up.
Right.
And that's going to push more people off of public sidewalks.
This is a public sidewalk.
Yeah, and
This
then,
is ODOT property.
but yeah, exactly. Off of regular people's properties into these ODOT areas, these smaller enclaves. As you see up here, we have almost like a Bedouin-style large tent complex. And these aren't going to be affected by that. Right, I don't see that.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
what's going to happen.
No one really knows.
Nobody knows.
And I think that's part of the problem,
it's
right?
Like when you shake a tree and the birds fly, you don't know where they're going to land.
That's right. You don't.
So the question is, where are they going to go?
Yeah.
My guess is they're going to go someplace where they don't think they're going to be moved.
That's right.
And if places like this or that, then they'll go here. So what we've got to do is work with the city, county, and Joint Commission to make sure that this doesn't become a permanent camp. I think you have to move people from the street to a shelter, and it has to get them from low barrier to high barrier, clean them up, put them in a halfway house where you can help them transition to housing and jobs. And so I think if you had the right structure, like a 2-step instead of just kind of throwing a mass camp, low barrier, I'm really concerned about that. I think that's going to have to be something like that.
We have to create.
We've got to get it to a Bybee Lakes model.
Yes, it has to be a process of personal transformation, and we got to get people on that track.
The problem right now is even on the shelter side, as we all know, the shelters are sitting at less than capacity because they don't have staffing. And if you don't
That's
pay
right.
people to staff those, the staffing to client ratio is at a level they can't open up all the beds. And so then we can't get people into bed. Can't get people off the street.
Yeah, so
we can work hard to get them
Correct.
ready to move, but if there's no beds available, they're kind of a no man's land.
So the county has around 2,000 beds. The city has just over 200. But if those entities aren't staffed, this is what I think I hear you saying, that really we're only at maybe 1,500 beds because we don't have enough employees at those individual sites to get the staffing levels at the level where we could then open up more beds.
Couldn't they use people that were like people in community service, in those positions to help to further along the cause, or is that like not
Like
possible?
volunteers?
Yeah, well, you're
I
supposed
don't
to do
think so.
community service.
I think it has
do
to
it
be,
here.
I think it has to be paid.
They need paid. They need to
Paid.
be paid very
They're
well.
almost like social workers. They have to
Okay.
understand how
Yeah.
to deal with the issues.
Okay, I see.
A lot of it's mental health, it's substance abuse, etc.
Okay.
So I think, that we've got to come up with a new model. I think Dan Field, I have confidence that he's the type of person. He used to be executive Kaiser. He knows how to run systems. We need to give him time to do it, but he needs to move.
Awesome.
Well, thanks.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate you. We want everyone to come out to the community and help. This is about getting the word out that number one, Portland is safe. You can come here. We want people to come here. We enjoy visitors, and you know, this is not a scary place to be. If you want to come, you're welcome to come here. If you live in the community, come out, get in contact with us. Look at Loving One Another, the Pearl District Neighborhood Association.
Livability and Safety Committee.
Livability.
They're the ones that do these clean teams that do the cleanup.
So
we really need to get people engaged.
The Portland District Neighborhood Associations, Livability and Safety Committee. Check them out online. Come and engage the community with us. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think the thing that's just like frustrating, even just coming from that perspective, is, bro, it's really all about having treatment and beds, and like that guy said, like helping people to get separate from the street so that they can get over their addictions, you know, get through it, you know, like, you know, with help, of course, and so that they can have some form of, like, I don't know, man, like self-respect, I guess you call it,
self-worth,
agency.
self-agency.
Yeah.
The ability to know that you can make your own decisions.
Right.
So you're not being controlled by a substance or by just the whims of your own emotions. That you're in a place where your mental health is solid, your addictions are baited, they're taken care of.
Right.
And you can say, hey, I'm thinking clearly, I can make my own decisions, I have agency in my own life. That's what people need. There's a lot of money being spent, but at the end of the day, it's just, we talk about it all the time, it's a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. And people, I think it's, to be honest, a lot of the people that work in these organizations that are in offices that want to get people into shelters, they're just too scared to actually go out on the street and talk to people.
Right.
They're just too scared, you know. That's what it comes down to. I just don't think that they have the fortitude, the courage, you know, because you can get killed. A lot of these tents have guns. There's a lot of shootings. This dude, this white guy we just talked with, he's an OG, bro. He's running the block. He's selling dope. And people feel really uncomfortable. These people who have gone to college, don't have a lot of life experience. Right. These jobs don't pay that well. They're younger people. They don't know what they're doing. They're not going to come out to these tents and kick it with an OG and, you know, try to get people into shelters, and they don't even know how to do that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Hey, let's go check out Old Town real quick.
Yeah, let's do it. How are you gonna fix it? Why do you feel like it's your place to?
I don't like people I don't like people or seeing people get hurt. You know, I mean, there's people here, brother. Like,
I know, dude, but it's heartbreaking when you got, like, you know, the other day I had 3 ladies. One of them was pregnant and on meth, and I tried to get them in homes, and they were like, yeah, we'll put you on a waiting list.
yeah,
And so they all left.
yeah, of course. The transition, it can take 2 or 3 days. That's why we bridged, like Carolyn the other day.
Yeah.
We had to put her in a hotel. It was 11 o'clock at night. I mean, there's no shelter intakes at 11 o'clock at night. Most people are most vulnerable at night. During the day, they're up trying to earn money, you know, trying to get drugs or food, and if they stop that activity, they don't eat that day. All right, man. So we're back here in Old Town, right? Obviously, this is a more common area to see that type of drug dealing. Usually during this season, during the summer season, we have the Saturday market going on here at the waterfront, and they tend to clean it up a little bit, right? The police spent a lot of time, even up 90 days before all this, kind of cleaning this up.
The waterfront, huh?
Yeah.
I want to see the waterfront.
Let's go to the waterfront, bro. Yeah. Talk about what we just experienced.
Yeah, man,
And,
that's
how do we get the guy with the teardrop? Steve, Nick, I don't know, whatever.
Nick was his
fake
name, and he was definitely the main dude, and he was hustling.
Well, he
like
said, I'm running the block.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we get that guy to stop selling dope? Like, how can we engage that guy to be like, hey, bro, you're ruining people's lives?
We gotta help him with opportunities, man.
I number one, I think we take the clients away.
Yeah.
You take the clients away, man. You get the clients into shelter, right? You get them to move, and that puts people in a position where they need to, if they're gonna continue to do business, they gotta go somewhere else.
The problem is, Alex, is that it's difficult to get expedient service when it comes to getting people in shelters. I
Yeah.
think that if you could narrow that time, then you could have a more fertile ground to be able to plant the the thought process.
Yeah, we have currently 14 people waiting to get into shelters.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know how many people you can lose like overnight just from overdoses.
Yeah.
Man? It's just, I feel like until that's been addressed,
Yeah,
the other stuff is you're just putting Band-Aids on it, man.
you are. I mean, at the end of the day, bro, I'm not a surgeon.
Yeah.
I don't have those capabilities. The government has to do that.
Right.
And
So how much can the private sector do?
I think the private sector can put on Band-Aids.
Yeah.
I think the private sector, so this is the exact whole purpose of this business model.
Right.
We don't run a shelter, we just get people into shelters.
Yeah,
Right? We can take them, we can be the ambulance that gets them to the hospital.
Right.
And then we take them to people that are waiting, ready to do intakes. The problem is, it's very rare that you can find people that want to do those intakes. I think Ken mentioned that. There's a problem though with employees and staffing. A lot of people don't want to work with this population. They don't want to work with it, especially after COVID. It's hard to staff. People are afraid of stuff like that, and they don't want to be around the houseless.
I can understand that, you know. But you just got to get your hands dirty sometimes, dude.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to see change
Of course.
in your community.
I agree. 100%. I was going to ask you, so this dude's selling dope over there. There's like 40 or 50 people over there. It looked like there was 3 guys selling dope.
Right.
How much money do you think they're making a day?
Oh, snap.
Right, so you got 3 dudes. One in the bike, that was a spotter.
Right.
The 2 over here with the female, and then the one guy with the teardrop, right?
I think the female was just there. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think she's
no,
working
she's-
it.
no, exactly.
She looked like she was just like kind of there with the dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of money in the ghetto, man. There's no telling. I would say probably anywhere between, I don't know what they sell the doses for. You know what I'm saying, with fentanyl, like if it was
for a white, you're talking $2 to $3, and for a blue, you're talking $5.
Okay.
Pills.
So
they crash
then,
them up. They smoke them on
right
foil.
there in the area, I'm thinking they probably pull home anywhere between probably like 300 to 700 a day.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah. Well, that dude wasn't even involved there, and he came up. That kind of Native American guy, Hispanic guy, teardrop, sold him something.
Yeah.
And so that's not, that makes sense, because that's only, if you're talking a transaction is an average of $15,
Right.
let's say $20, that's only 20 folks.
And I think that the dude was, behaving that way because he
The
felt
OG.
like,
Yeah.
he could operate with impunity. You know what I mean? Like,
Nobody cares, man.
no one cares, and so the money's
People are
there.
overdosing, and they'll even know who the dealer is, and no one's going after that dealer.
I mean, I'm being real with you. I think that guy is there because he says his brother's there, right?
Yeah.
I think that guy's there to make sure people don't overdose. If you know what I mean. Like,
It's funny you said that, because they actually had Narcan. They had the needle. Did you see it? The needle form of Narcan?
yeah.
So he might be there keeping them alive so that they can keep using.
Yep.
And I was wondering, man, they have a whole bunch of Narcan. They got the needle form,
Yep.
not even the nose spray.
I know guys that would stay up till 5, 6 a.m. with
crazy.
people that he was serving in order to make sure that they didn't die.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's why he's willing to move them all so that we don't get them into a shelter.
That's his bread and butter,
He's making $400 a day.
potentially.
Why do you think that this guy, he came up to us and said, hey, do y'all need us to move? I can move these people. I think he's protecting his profit. That's what.
Well,
kind of right,
I think the reason why is because we made the spot hot,
Yeah.
and he realizes that it's been consistently people coming around there cleaning,
Yeah.
taking video, asking questions, and then he met us, and I mean, we have a certain vibe. I have a certain vibe, so he might have been like, all right, this is.
These might be undercover.
Who
this
no
is
telling, like
maybe another gang's looking out for that
maybe,
spot.
I don't know, but I don't know, man. I know that they want to make their money, but I'm pretty sure that if they were given a different perspective, a different chance, like
That's right.
if they were like, okay, well, you sell this, what if I could get you to go sell cell phones?
Yeah.
There's a good chance they might not be there. I feel like if they had some comfort in knowing that they had potential for growth
Yeah.
in some sort of career, that they definitely wouldn't be there. You know, I'm here to tell you that that's a motivating factor. You know, he got a built-in thing there. If he can get the people to move where he wants them to be, he can continue to serve them. No one really cares because they're, you know, dregs.
Yeah.
You know, and on goes the chaos, which
It's crazy, man.
kind of drives me insane, man.
Well, hey, I know we're talking about this now, but we should probably hit up the studio, talk about this, you know, as more of an after action, and get down to the details of what's really going on.
Yeah, man, I have to agree. It's just when I start to look at this place.
I mean, look at that, just the graffiti right there.
Well, it's just
Crazy,
such
man.
a beautiful place, man. For, you know, just a couple blocks away, there's people, you know, doing drugs, bro.
Yeah.
And we got all this livelihood going on behind us, you know,
Yeah.
Saturday fair and all that. Like, this place is breathtaking.
Yeah, it's the juxtaposition of the worst and the best, all in one place, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, let's go check out your spot.
Yeah, let's go. Set it up. Yeah.
Man, that food smells so good.
It does.
I think I saw somebody eating some gyro earlier.
Well,
Gyro? Yeah.
Angelina runs a Euro place, and she used that Saturday market.